Okay, let me just do a quick intro. I have got David Tocher here for anyone in the audience that had, I did that right? David Tocher, right?
Oh yeah.
For anyone in the audience that has not been on a Cup of Joe call, I have given our guest today very, very strict instructions to completely please ignore the chat box. But if you do have any questions or anything you'd like me to ask him throughout the call, please put it in the chat box. I'll be monitoring it and I will make sure to direct the question to him. And also, if you have anything you want to say, just to let him know you were here or, whatever, at the end of the call, if there is anything in the chat box, I will send it to him. So he will see any messages that were left. But other than that, let's jump into the call. I have David Tocher here. I recently narrated one of your books. I almost never look on ACX. And when I do, I'm not auditioning. I'm just managing other books that I have. And I also would normally not look at a straight horror cover, but I don't know why. I clicked on yours one day because I was trying not to do my work and I was messing around. And your writing, I'm a huge Twilight Zone fan. I grew up watching The Twilight Zone, and your writing made me want to stay. And so I auditioned, and your book did not disappoint me. It was amazing. I, yeah, huge Twilight Zone fan. And there's something about your writing that reminded me of the Twilight Zone. And coming from me, that's a huge, huge compliment because my heart and Black Mirror. I love Black. I don't know if you ever watched Black Mirror, but that was the kind of it's like each story is unique in of itself and it's gripping and you're on the edge of your seat. And so my question, David, is can you please tell me about 10-year-old David?
10-year-old David.
10-year-old David, who were you? What were your dreams, hopes? Were you living in the moment? What did you love doing? What did you hate? Tell me about 10-year-old David.
10-year-old David was a very I wouldn't say shy, but definitely social around the people he felt comfortable with. Right. Um, that young man uh was like a compass whose needle hasn't found true north yet. It's spinning in every direction. Yeah, and a very strange, eccentric kid. And a lot of that was because he didn't know what his gifts were and he didn't know where they fit in life. Right. And so that young man was essentially he was a I think he was a good kid. He meant well. He didn't have ill will to anybody. Uh, he desired, like, it was in his nature to be nice, to be kind, right? Um, However, that young boy, uh, you know, he was a lonely kid, you know, and he took a lot of refuge in books. And he discovered at a very young age a particular horror writer that was hugely popular in the 80s, right?
Oh, who?
Exactly who you're thinking of.
Yeah, yeah. At 10 years old, that's quite.
Yeah, I read this author's books. The first one I read was when I was 10. And I remember as a young man going, I want to be able to write. How do they do that? I would
I
go
love
like
that.
I would go to bookstores and I would just like I remember picking up like books that were too mature in their reading level for me to read. Like at 10 years old, I could not have read, I don't like Wuthering Heights, right? I would have lost interest. Just grab me a choose your own adventure or something,
That
right?
that was Wuthering Heights was my favorite. I thought I was Kathy. I drove my parents a little insane.
So you were a compass too with the needle
Yeah.
spinning about.
Well,
Yes.
I did Wuthering Heights, The Marquis de Sade, and Charles Manson. My parents should have locked the bookcase. And like you, I'm not saying I was super intelligent. A lot of it was beyond me, but that didn't stop me.
Didn't stop. Yeah. I
Yeah.
was the same. We had the thirst.
Yeah.
There was a thirst. There was this yearning, like a curiosity. I
Yeah.
think you share that, when you were young, by the sounds of what you're saying. This inborn curiosity, just this need to drink it all in.
But I think it's really insightful that at 10 years old, your mind went to, I want to learn how to do this.
Yes.
Because that I think goes a long way to define you as a writer. Because as a 10-year-old, I thought I am Kathy. I literally wanted to stand at a window and freeze myself to death. I didn't have that like concrete feeling of the world and like what I could make happen. So for you, that's very precocious for a 10-year-old to make that connection already. It's very intelligent at a young age.
It seized me.
Yeah.
It was like I remember picking up like a book from the adult fiction section, you know, and I remember looking like just flipping through it and looking at all the big paragraphs and how they were organized and going, how do they do that?
Really? You
Yes, when
went
I
to
was
that
10 years,
level.
yes. But if I and I'd read like the paragraph, see, oh, look how he organized his thought. And then, whoa, and it builds. And what's he doing? Like I had to know, how does he do this? This need. And and it was just there. It just like it's just a thirst. It was just there. And I remember as a young boy, I would and this will lead up to maybe later, right? But just to lay a little groundwork here. When I was a young boy, see, what I would do is I would say like watch movies and then try to write my own version of the movie in the form of his book.
We were opposites because I would watch movies and I thought Lucille Ball was like my aunt. I thought Andy Griffith was my relative. Like I don't have, and to be honest, I'm like 90 years old and I still have a hard time differentiating who the star is, what they're doing acting, and the character, which I think is why I'm not a writer, but a storyteller because I'm in your story, believing it. You're telling the story. You're aware of the dynamics and the craft and the overall
Yeah.
observer.
Kind of, kind of. There is that. There's an aspect to it. But um the little knowledge I do have of your world, which is acting, and if I say like if I use the wrong term or maybe the wrong, please feel free to
I
like
don't
correct me.
know. Haven't I seen posts recently that you've been on acting gigs? It's not little knowledge. You're an actor as well, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
But
you've
you're
seen both
like
sides.
you're a classically trained, like like you're more experienced at it than me, right?
No. An actor is an actor is an actor. You're either an actor or you're not, and you're an actor. And
Okay.
I think people, but what I envy about that is if you have that analytical side of you that you use as a writer, you can, because a lot of people can bring that to the craft of acting.
Yes.
I I have to learn the technique and the technical stuff because I forget when I'm in there. I completely lose myself. So
Yeah.
sometimes I forget the rules. And I admire people that remember that it's a craft. You
Yeah.
can't completely lose yourself. And I think you might have an advantage playing both games.
Well, I find that studying acting and taking acting courses and working on set, uh what I've noticed, one of my, I guess, weaknesses is that I'm very analytical, which is helpful when it comes to scene study,
Yep.
breaking down the scene into beats, doing animal work, all those sort of things, or where you're breaking down. So you have to justify to your scene partner, to the director, why you're making these choices
Yeah.
based on the given circumstances. And that's where the creativity lives, right? And but I found that when I would be doing my scene study in my notes, my instructor would be, David, physical physicality, how does that affect their movement? Because acting is all about conveying
Get it out of
emotion
your
through
head.
movement. And when you're a writer, you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a shift. You have to be able to oscillate between two modes. And so there's a little bit of a challenge there. Um, and so with writing, there is somewhat of a, yes, like you're the creator of it all and you have this overview. But at the same time, it's like when you're doing the scene study as an actor, you get to have the overview. But then when you actually do the performance, I think Jeff Goldblum described it best. He said it's like a prayer. Thy will be done. You give it all up. You
Yep.
have to connect with your intuition and be in the moment.
That's how I work. And a lot of
Yeah.
narrators, they mark up their scripts and then
Yeah.
they go into the booth with, and everyone works differently. I'm not saying this as a good or bad. I'm just saying this as a, I can't do it that way. They go into the booth with highlighted lines, highlighted bits to punctuate, or accents. On every vowel, I'm going to do this. I cannot do it. I have to learn everything I can possibly learn before I go in, and then when I go in, I look at a clean manuscript, no markups at all. But what I do before I record any book is I have a conversation on tape, on recording, with every character in the book in their voice, explaining their
Oh,
situation in the book to each other. And for anthologies, that's quite fun actually, because
wow.
they jump across stories and talk to each other, which in some places might be considered certifiable of me, but the advantage is they then feel like real people in my head,
Yes.
and I have a clip of their voice. So if it's, say, a series, I go back, I've always got their voice. I know who Jonathan is. I know who David is. I know how they sound, what their story is, the description. I've got fiery red hair. I seduce men. I know because it's all in one little encapsulated voice clip on my phone, ready to go. Um, but that's the extent of it. I can't. I can't. I go crazy thinking about the details while I'm in the booth. I have to not have to think about it.
Still know your, but you have your way to find your way to the character.
Yeah. And I've
No?
already,
Yeah.
I of course read the manuscript. I know the story. I know what I want to do, but I have to go on instinct.
Yeah.
And on stage I was like that as well. I'm not very good with directors that are really into the details.
Yeah.
It freaks me out.
You need that freedom
Yeah.
to connect with your intuition to and allow the character to come alive organically. Yeah.
This is a little, I'm going to come back, but I'm going to swing around the
Okay.
corner real quick because, and tell me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I don't know ages. I have no like idea how old people are. But I have a feeling, and I heard something recently that I should have known that was eye-opening to me. Um, I'm not wrong. Are you Gen X as well, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
Gen.
because I've
Yeah.
something about your tastes and your writing everything. I felt like you were a fellow Gen Xer, and I
Oh
was
yeah.
wondering about this because I just recently listened to something where the guy was talking about Gen Z in particular, but also kind of millennials as well, and that after the advent of social media, like people really are like different human beings. They're like wired differently. Like it never occurred to me that I assumed up until yesterday that everyone else knew that that's not the real world. The real world is like TV shows and our favorite books and stuff we do at home and but yesterday hearing that thing, if you're I think Gen X was the last generation. Was I don't know if millennials crossed that divide. The last generation that like had a life before everything was digital. Do you think that's informed your writing? And how do you think that affects, because the writer, you're sending a message, you're communicating with people throughout generations. Do you take that into account? Like your whole audience is wired differently, aren't they? The newer audiences.
Um, so one thing I've noticed that like just developing a lot of my readers are women. I have a
Interesting, because
I have
you
a
do, yeah.
lot of female readers. Okay. I had my heart broken pretty hard as a young man and developed a
Oh,
little bit, yeah, just like everyone else. We all got to go through it. It's part of life, right? But the thing is, I remember. I mean, I had bitterness that I needed to heal from, and what happened is that I had bitterness I had to heal from, and what had happened is, see, uh, the woman that helped me the most, like professionally, was Nancy Kilpatrick. She's like the Canadian answer to Anne Rice, you know. And I ran into her at a bookstore. You read my introduction,
I
and
remember the
yeah,
introduction. Yeah.
and she invited me to participate in her anthology, like to submit a story, and and she accepted it, and that brought me uh into like that made me like a known author. I wasn't a big author, but I was a known author.
Right. That
And
was
like
your break.
she gave me a big catapult, in that direction. And then my editor Lisa, she does one like she Lisa Martinez. She's a fantastic editor. She knows how, like she knows how to take my voice and go like, okay, yeah, okay, but here's what David really is trying to say, and she can write it out and say, let me just tweak it this way, and go, hey, that's exactly what I was, yeah,
Wow.
right,
Yeah.
and
That's
and she says,
gold.
I hope I had got it right, and I'm like, oh yeah, you got it right,
That's gold. I
and
did an article for a paper once and they rewrote it and was like, who is this? It's nothing to do with me anymore.
yeah,
So
you
when
know,
you find an editor
yeah,
that knows you,
yeah,
yeah.
and I've worked with her for 15 years now. Every story you've read of mine is something has been passed through her first. And so I found that like the the people that came into my life to help me to advance creatively, most of them were women. And so that in a way helped me to heal from that, from what I've been through, because when we're younger, and I think this is something that happens like maybe for a lot of people, but I know it happened to me. When we're younger, we are like our field is way open. Come on in. I want, because we're trying to meet people, we're trying to connect, we're trying to, build.
Yeah.
As we get older, we come very clear of what we want, what we will allow, and we start putting up not walls, but boundaries.
We're very forgiving when we're young. When I think
Yes.
of some of the people.
Oh boy. Yeah. And so what I learned is what the problem was in my life was that I needed to learn how to set standards for myself and how I wanted to be treated. And when I saw behavior that did not match that, not to allow that person in. I didn't know that when I was younger, and I just come on in, right? And it's a mistake I think a lot of young people make, right? But getting older has you learn to kind of set those healthy boundaries to protect yourself, and then you find that when you've done that, the right people start coming into your life.
But I wonder if like Gen Z are able to learn if your whole life is on digital social media, because the whole thing about like comparing yourself to others, and if people don't like my post or put an emoji down, I get upset. I've actually had people say, "Oh, I get upset," and I thought they were joking up until yesterday. I literally thought they were joking because to me, in my head, it's just social media.
Yeah,
So I can't even imagine having to socialize, because when you're that age, part of what you're talking about, not only learning the lesson, but the executive function in your brain is turned off, isn't it? Like during adolescence, like there's a part
yeah,
of your brain is literally just not working yet, that
yeah.
where to make sound decisions.
That's why we do a lot of stupid stuff when we're young.
Yeah, and but the generation now isn't learning in real life. Well, I guess their real life is behind the computer.
It is, and it's scary. And one of the things is that you don't know a person until you meet them in person.
Yeah.
That's when you know a person, and you see how they react when they're angry. You see how they treat service workers. Are they polite in mixed company? You see all these things, right? Do they chew with their mouth open, or like you see all that stuff. And I think with young people that being able to properly screen people, you can't do that on social media, and it's building connections that aren't. These are connections that haven't been earned through actual interaction, right?
And that's quite dangerous. As a
It's very
writer, are you
dangerous.
tempted to change your writing because of a changing audience?
No, I am tempted to point readers back,
Hmm.
right? And so one of the things I do is I often handwrite my stories.
Wow.
Okay,
Oh,
so
wow, that's hardcore.
yeah, I handwrite the stories, and that is because when you are using a pencil, right? When I'm using my pencil on the paper, I am physically connecting with the words. I have a physical relationship. I know the shape of that word. When and especially writing in cursive is so important. Kids don't know how to do that anymore. I remember one person was like, "Oh, it's not important no more." A younger person, it's like, "Oh, gee, like kids today don't know how to, put a horseshoe on a horse. Like it's not even relevant anymore. We drive cars." And it's like, no, cursive is relevant today. And a simple Google search, just looking on Google, when you type in, when you handwrite, oh, I'm so within cursive is an elevated style of typography, and you write neatly. That forces your mind to access its higher thinking. It's like when you put on a nice dress, or if I were to put on a nice dress suit that was like, came right from the cleaners and it was like really expensive. We carry ourselves differently
Yeah.
when we have on night. Same thing goes for handwriting. It's the dress suit that makes
That's
you
an
kind of stand.
It's sorry to interrupt, but it's an old school manifesting trick. They say you hand write, if you've got a goal that you really want, you hand write it, what, 10, whatever, whoever's talking to you, times every single day. You
Yeah.
hand write it because you're connected, and it's the artist's way. I don't know if I've only ever gotten through like the first chapter. I've never been able to do the artist's way, but she does a thing called morning pages, which
Mhm.
you'd probably love, which is like a brain dump every morning, handwriting.
The morning pages.
Yeah. Have you read
I'm
The
gonna have to
Artist's
check
Way?
that out. I have
I
a
think you
writing
would
diary.
I think you'd love The Artist's Way
The
because you
artist way.
sound yeah, you sound so much like her. I've got it somewhere, but I
I'm
always
gonna
feel
write that down, and
and
then
it's
I
quite an
can.
intensive program.
Yeah.
Um, it's quite an intent and it's supposed to free your creative soul. And a lot of what you say sounds a lot like the teachings of The Artist's Way. Definitely look it
Oh,
up.
I'd love to read that. And is she a painter? Like,
Um,
or
I'm
or
going
this just
completely
artists in general?
blank. No, she was, I think it's directed towards actors.
Okay.
Um, but it might be writers. I'm guilty because I'm going to do it one day, and I keep opening it up and starting the first chapter and then like closing it and putting it off because it is something you have to kind of like devote yourself to. She
Yeah.
gives you exercises like go to a cafe, do something new you've not done today. She gives you exercises along the way, and they're all devoted to getting rid of blocks and opening up your creative muscles.
Yeah.
I think you'd love it. I'm surprised that yeah, because you've said a lot of things that are very, very aligned with it.
I have not heard of it. I definitely am interested now. I'm definitely interested now.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
that
with
would.
young, oh, sorry, did you want to?
Nope, nope. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So I think with handwriting, so if I'm gonna, so like if I'm writing a particularly descriptive scene where I need to, like, have all the visuals and the sensory there, and I want the language to flow, right? I will handwrite it a bunch of times to get it just right. Because as I'm handwriting and writing in cursive, the physical connection with the letters, and also writing in a style that's beautiful, like handwriting, it your mind accesses higher levels of thinking and creativity, right? And so today, when people communicate, they communicate via text. All the letters are uniform. They use little emojis, little smiley faces. All those emojis are the emoji I send you is the same one you send me. There's no originality. It's not like I got to design my own little smiley face that has my own little flair to it.
And I just put hearts on everything because it feels like a secret language that like I don't really understand or have the time to learn, and I don't want to offend anyone. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So I just hit heart on
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
It's, death in the family heart.
I use the heart, and I use the warm cheek, smiley face to say like warmth, right? And I just kind of leave it there, and if I can't do that, then I don't leave a comment or anything like that, because I want to make sure that everything is positive, like or like from a place of place of like just of gentleness, right?
I
And,
think there's so much information out there that I was thinking that today because I had a whole day that I could do stuff, right? And I've sorted out a little tax thing that I had to do was going to take a half hour and all the other things, answer emails and everything. Like I'm getting nothing done at this point because I'm just bombarded. I think all the influx of information that we have at our hands and everything's digital, we get less done rather
yeah,
than more. Like I don't know where the time goes, but like it's Sunday and then 2 hours later it's Saturday. Maybe it's just getting old.
getting older, we perceive time differently.
What about your writing? Tell me about, do you have a ritual? Do you have a certain coffee cup? How do you make yourself write on days that you don't want to write? Do you have a specific set routine? Tell me all about your writing.
Okay, well, what what I do is I aim for 3 pages minimum a day. So about 200, that's about 300 pages. I mean, sorry, 300 words per page,
Are
right?
you an
So
outliner or a pantser?
you know what? I'm gonna say something, and I'm gonna say that I think thinking in terms, and don't take it the wrong way. I, as you know, like speaking to writers,
Mm-hmm.
the concept of are you an outliner or a pantser, I think is a little bit amateurish.
Is it?
We need
Okay.
to dispel that dichotomy, get rid of it.
I love that because I learned it by reading writers' posts on threads, to be
Yeah.
honest. So I've got no horse in the game. So tell me.
Okay. Um, so my ritual is I want to write 3 pages a day. Minimum 600 words. Uh, but and I want to make sure that the writing is pretty good, right? Um, I like to have my coffee. I'm a coffee guy. Doesn't matter which coffee cup, as long as I have my coffee. Lots of cream, lots of sugar. That's how I like it. And I play jazz. I'm a big jazz guy.
Oh, I
So
love it. Same time every day.
about the same time every day. I try to do it in the morning, but if I can't do it in the morning, I try to at least do it in the evening. At least get it done.
Okay.
And so I will play. I mean, my favorites are Herbie Hancock. Um, you know, John Coltrane. I
Oh,
really
gee.
love the Bill Evans trio. Sunday at the Village Vanguard. Love that. Bill Evans trio with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. Amazing. Um, and Dave Brubeck,
I wish I could listen to music when I work. That's the one
I
thing I
can't listen to
can't
music with
do.
lyrics. That distracts me. So I
Hmm.
have to play music that's instrumental, and what I often play is jazz. Jazz gets me in the zone.
Yeah.
And so those are my go-tos. And I when I write, it's like mania. It's like the hyper focus when I'm in the zone. It's like the hyper focus of somebody with ADHD or something, like that hyper focus mode. I will like the house will turn into a mess.
Like flow.
Yes, the
You're in
flow
flow.
state.
Yeah.
And it is like tunnel vision for me. And the dishes will pile up, the bathroom will get kind of cluttered and dirty, clothes will be everywhere. And then finally when the manuscript's done, it's like I gotta tidy up.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
I'm in the zone. And I just came out of that. I just came out of that actually with the story that I just finished. It's in Lisa's hands right now. And
How how long do you need as like a palate cleanser between books?
you know what? When I write a book, I like so for Spider Seeds, I show the reader, show the audience.
Yes, of course.
So with Spider Seeds here, which came out last year,
Love that
won it
cover.
won an award. It won the Literary Titan Gold Book Award. It's really, 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 really honored with that. And Spider Seeds, um, Spider Seeds, I wrote that during the winter. I wrote that during last year, mostly during the some of it during the winter, most of it during the summer and the fall though.
How
And
did it feel when you found out you were up for an award for it?
it was it was kind of funny. Like I had a there was I woke up in the morning and I checked my email and it said, you know, we're happy to tell you that you've won the Literary Titan Gold Book Award. Here's the link. Here's the, you know,
And did you know that you were in the running for it, or was it
oh,
just,
yeah, I submitted the book for it, right?
I
Uh,
need to do that because a lot of audiobooks are self-submitted, but I'm like never ever submitted for an award. Is it, do you consider it just business or is there anxiety when you submitted for it? How did it feel submitting it?
I just treat it like a business.
Yeah, because that's what it is, isn't it?
All it is.
But then when you win it, that's not
And
business.
it's like,
That's like an
woo,
honor.
yes, yes, right?
Yeah.
And it was a good feeling. It was my first award. And you know, I mean, I've been writing professionally close almost 20 years now. And so it was my first award and I was very happy. I was like, been 20 years, kind of, you know, about time, you
Did
know.
you celebrate? Are you good at celebrating and taking a moment to enjoy the successes?
I do. And you know what? I have found that writers, for the most part, are loners. Most of the authors I know, we're not all buddies with each other, but we swoop in like eagles and help one another out when we need it, and then we
Yeah,
fly off. That's
I
what
love that
authors are
about
like.
writers.
Yeah.
I love that. You don't want to mess with a writer because they'll have friends come out of the woodwork.
Yep. And we know lots of eccentric, what, yeah, you know.
The ones I work for, they know a million ways to kill you. So
Yes.
they've done the research.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know. And and so I that's how my writing process works. Paul Dale Anderson. He passed away a few years ago, but he was a mentor to me for a while. And Paul Dale Anderson, he was uh, a horror writer who was well known in the 80s and 90s. He was uh, you know, he was in a lot of anthologies with like, you know, the big icons, you know, like Kuntz and all those guys, right? Uh,
James Herbert. Did you ever read James Herbert?
as a kid,
The Magic Cottage. I'm
as a
going to
child,
revisit that one. Yeah. Sorry,
I
I interrupted
I
you.
read him as a child. Yeah,
Yeah, I interrupted you. Go ahead. Go
it's
ahead. You
okay.
meant
And Paul Dale Anderson, I asked him once, I said, because I was really struggling with my writing, and I asked him, what do I need to like prepare like mentally, emotional, like to like, you know, begin writing? And Paul's response to me was, what you need is to have your posterior placed in a chair You need to have a cup of coffee or whatever beverage you like to drink. You need to have a paper and a writing instrument or a computer, whatever tool you need for writing to have that. And you need to write. That's what you need to do.
Well, there's a movie. I can never remember
Yeah.
the name of this movie, and it really struck me because the girl kept telling everyone she was a writer, and everyone made fun of her, because she never wrote. And the arc of the movie after she like broke up, I can't remember anything else about the movie except that what she started doing was sitting at that typewriter or the computer, whatever, every single day. She
Yes.
sat there. And in the beginning, she didn't write a single thing. She just showed up. And I used that when I started narrating because there is always something that stops you getting in the booth. So now, as much as I can, I just show up at the
That's
specific time I
exactly
clock
it.
in and I clock out.
Yep.
Once I'm in there, I usually get more done than I thought I would. But if you don't show up, you're not going to get it done.
Yep. That's exactly it. It's a matter of showing up. Inspiration is for amateurs.
Yeah, I agree.
We show up, we do the work. If it's slow and grinding and arthritic and a an uninspired experience, so what? We showed up, we got it done.
I'm a huge fan of boots on the ground. And saying that, as narrators, and you know this as an actor, there are always going to be dry spells. And people think of themselves, they think of business first. They're business people instead of artists. So when there's a dry spell, they work on their business instead of in their business. So they start chasing work and they don't have any work, so they don't go in the booth or they don't go on the acting gig or and I always, in between jobs, even when I very first started, I got in the damn booth. If I had to do a free public domain book, I got in that booth because what
Yep.
mattered was I was working.
Yep.
Eventually, the rest will take care of itself. The business will, but it's not going to take care of itself. I can do all the reach outs in the world, but if I'm not working, but I think a lot of people pay too much attention to the outcome. If I write this book, is it going to be successful? Oh, it's so hard out there. I won't be able to sell it. It's rough out there. AI is taking narrators' jobs. I don't have enough publisher work. I don't care. I don't care. There are millions of books out there you could be doing. If you're an actor, you could create a play, write a script, book yourself at a festival. I've got no patience for people that don't show up and make it happen.
That's because they are in the wrong game.
Good point.
They're in the wrong game. Writers write the same way smokers smoke cigarettes.
Because
We're,
you have to.
we have to.
Not
I
because you're guaranteed a specific paycheck.
Yeah. I write because the story has to be told.
Yeah.
Show up and do the work. And
And some books, acting gigs, narrating gigs, some of the best ones I've ever done. If I'd waited for a specific amount of money at a specific perfect time coming from the specific perfect place, I wouldn't have done the work.
yeah,
You know, that's a reward in and of itself, in my opinion.
the quality of what it is, of the product, and knowing that you were part of its creation.
And it makes the quality of the product makes you more, gives you quality.
Yeah,
It all goes into who you are, the
yeah.
experience. Tell me, I'd love to hear if you could describe the first moment you felt like a real writer.
Oh, the first moment I felt, yes, that is a thing. Am I a real writer yet? You
Yeah,
know, I when I sold my made my first professional sale, and that was in 2009. I'm gonna take this here. So in 2000 so I submitted the book 2000, the story, short story, 2007, 2008. I heard back from them in 2009 that they had accepted it.
A publisher, a magazine.
It was a publishing company called L&L Dreamspell, and they're no
Anthology.
longer in operation today. They were a small press based out of Texas, and they did all sorts of different books.
That's
Uh,
huge for a writer, though, getting a sale at a publishing company. That's huge.
it is huge, and it was the first story I had written and completed because I wrote all through high school, and I kind of fell off from writing. I was a musician. I'm a musician too, and because you're young, you want to meet girls, you want to party, you want to party, you want to do all the things that young people want to do, and and I just and I met people, and life went a certain way. But when life settled, I was like, what about writing again? And I tried it out. I was reading books on it, and so the first story I submitted to a publisher, uh, they accepted it. They asked me to change the ending. They said the ending was a little weak. You need to change the ending, make it like this or like this. So I did as they suggested, because I took a course from Wing Hill Writing School, and my teacher, he's passed away now. But my instructor, he had said, if you're writing to get published by a publishing company, you don't write and try to get others to publish what you write. You find out what others want to publish and you write that for them.
Yeah, because that at that point it's business. You're not writing your manifesto.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so that's why when they said make these changes, I did it, because I'm
Yeah.
writing for you.
Yeah.
And they were right. Their suggestion for the ending was better. And so that story was Letters from a Dead World. And
Wow.
it was published in this anthology, back in 2009, 2010. And I was paid $20 American for it. I got a check in the mail, and I got my royalty pay, like my statement, business statement from the publisher, my check.
Did you
Uh,
frame them?
I did not, but I still have I
You
still
should
have
frame it and put
well,
it
I
up in
cashed
your
the check.
office. Frame this royalty statement.
Oh, I still have them around, but yeah, well, I mean, royalty statements are pretty normal.
No,
Like,
but not your first one. That was your first one.
I guess you're right. Yeah,
It's
I
momentous.
it was momentous. It was. And I remember getting these things in the mail, and I had come back from Ottawa. I'd went to go see Ozzy Osbourne in concert,
Oh, wow.
and a big metal guy, right? Especially when I was younger. And I saw Ozzy, I saw a bunch of friends, and I came back home, and then I had packaging in the mail, and it was from the publisher. And I opened it up, and it was like, there's my contributor copy
Wow.
and my $20 check. And I think I got two contributor copies, and I got a check for $20, and I got like a letter saying, thank you for submitting your story, for being part of the anthology, and they gave me a poster of the cover,
Oh, that's
right?
so cool.
Like this whole package, right? And it was just like, my childhood dream was to be an author. And I
Yeah.
remember seeing that and going like, wait a sec, I'm a published writer now. Like,
Yeah, I did the same thing. I'm a narrator now. The moment like
Yeah,
you say it
you
out
know.
loud. And then from that moment on, I never stopped telling anyone. Like the guy delivers, still, I've got to stop myself. The guy delivers the groceries. Well, because me, in my job as an audiobook narrator, really, I narrate audiobooks here. Like they don't care, Daniela. Like, do you find yourself wanting to tell everyone in the world you're a writer because you're so proud of it?
I do. Um, People ask me, what do you do? And I says, well, I'm a writer. I write books, you know? And and the funny thing is some people are curious and some people just don't care.
Because
And
everyone's got their own lives. You know what I
everyone's
mean? The
got their own
woman
lives, their own thing,
carrying
right?
my
But
groceries up the
yeah.
stairs couldn't care less. She doesn't even know what the narrator does. She's too busy trying to figure out where my accent's from.
What I loved watching the series Frasier.
Yeah, I used to love that.
And Frasier, like he's this radio famous radio host. Nobody who's his friend or his family listens to his show or cares. And
I
I'm
don't
going,
think
I
I've
can
got
totally
any.
relate to that. I mean,
I-
yeah, I mean, I have friends who read my work. I have family who reads my work. Yeah, okay, right. But like just that it's a thing, where
They're
it was
not your audience. They're
you're
not
not they're
people
not your
get so
audience. You're
disappointed when their family doesn't.
just a
Yeah.
person, right? Um, you know, and that's good because friends and family keep you grounded. You know, you know, that way keep you grounded. Remember, you're just a person. Oh, yeah, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So starting with Dark Night of the Soul, can you tell me about the lowest point of your career or this career, prior careers, anything, the lowest point and how you got out of it, and then also the highest point, the most exciting, the moment that you were at, felt like you were at the top and you felt like you had it all figured out. And we all have many, many of those points throughout, but does anything spring to mind in particular?
Yeah, there
Something that maybe
does.
another writer or somebody else might recognize, and they could be in the middle of it right now.
Okay. My lowest point as a writer. And here's the thing. I'd gone to writing school. I'd taken a course through Wing Hill Writing School. Great school, by the way. Um, I had received like a diploma from them, took their novel writing course. I still had so much more to learn. I had been published, I'd been published 3 times by then, Letters from a Dead World had been published. Then Nancy Kilpatrick published my story, Chelsea Morning, and Evolved 2. And then Confidence Man was published in an anthology called Dark Light, edited by Carl Hose. And that had some famous writers in there. And I was like, that was a pretty good feeling, I realized like I'm like these really like major names. I was like in the
You can
table of
hold your
contents with
own.
them, rubbing
Yeah.
shoulders with them, right?
Yeah.
It's affirming,
Yeah.
The thing was, I had serious drug and alcohol problems during that time, and I was not the best version of myself. Um, I would, and what thing is, I would spiral, and then when I spiraled, all bets were off, right? And I had an older person who had come into my life when I was very young, 18, and they had a lot of influence over me. And when I got away from this person, and then I would reconnect with them, and then gradually the spiral would happen again,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
And the person is a textbook case narcissist. Textbook case. And I did not understand those things. I did not understand reactive abuse or how they get into your mind or all those things, or how you start giving up your own identity and and
Yeah.
absorbing the kind of world they make for you. I
And
did.
also because you're a writer, writers, musicians, that you're porous
Yes,
because you can't do your job if you're not open to other people's energy. So
yes.
that makes you very susceptible to that kind of thing.
I I remember when I would like break contact with him and my life would start getting better. And I
But
wasn't
when
getting
you're
all
in it, you
wasted and
don't you don't recognize it.
what had happened is I what happened is I remember being in bars, just, drinking all the time and being a total wreck. And I remember one time I came home drunk from a bar and I was just room was spinning. I was just wasted and sick. And then, like, I think I drank too much whiskey. So I got sick. And the thing is, like, and the room's kind of spinning. And I remember standing at the bookshelf and seeing my diploma and seeing the books that I'd published there. And I'm going, my spitting and going, I can't even enjoy my success.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like, I can't even enjoy it. Like it's like the diploma was mocking me. The books were mocking me. My right, and
Yep.
it was a really ugly feeling. And you know, um, people that were good friends of mine, they knew even if they didn't have the big picture, they knew me or they understood something was wrong, and they just sort of like they never left me. They allowed me to kind of work my way through it, and they're like, "Hey, brother, hey, friend, welcome back, you know." Um, and other people, you realize that, well, they just weren't your friends to begin with, you know. And
Did you have a clear cutoff with that person, or was it a gradual,
he's
you let
dead
go of
now.
the person? Oh, so
He's dead now. When I got the news of his death, and I had already cut him off.
okay.
I had become I had like learned about narcissistic personality disorder. I'd learned about I was going, am I a narcissist? Oh my gosh, I've been acting this way. And then they're like, the fact that you're asking
A
and if you're
narcissist won't
recognizing,
ask himself, am I a narcissist?
I need to change my behavior. What I'm doing is
Yeah.
wrong. Oh my gosh. I did that. Did I affect somebody? I'm starting. And they're like, if that's happening to you, you're
You're not
not.
a narcissist.
You need to break away from those people, right? But what happened is
You,
I had
you
cut them
let
off.
go of the person you used to be to become the person that you wanted to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when he died after I cut him off, I got a message from one of his in-laws saying that he'd passed. And I remember I was sad, but I also breathed a huge sigh of relief. And when my life was free of that, it was like I breathed a huge sigh of relief. And during that time, I was taking courses in literature. So I was taking courses in the English literature. I'm especially really fond of the Romantic period and the Gothic literature that sprung from the Romantic period. I love I love I studied world literature through some Harvard courses online. I immersed myself in literature and studied the mechanics of it. I took some courses in Shakespeare.
Wow. Yeah.
And what happened was
I can hear
when
that in your writing, actually. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Sorry.
when
Go ahead.
I when when I studied English, the high point for me was studying English literature and studying world literature. And so we started with Beowulf. We went to the Epic of Gilgamesh. We went to the Odyssey. We went to Louis Vasta Camões, the Lusiads. The Portuguese epic. We went through the Arabian Nights. Went through all world literature, the majors of world literature. I mean, I went through English literature, and it suddenly dawned on me, the boom moment. They're all telling the same story.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
It's all the same story. That was the
Yeah, mind blown. Oh, wait a minute.
and so coming back to what I said earlier, are you a plotter or a pantser? I said that's kind of amateurish,
Yeah.
because what an author does
You
is,
do know that now I'm going to want to go on Threads and correct every single one of them that's
but here's the thing. If they don't have that background in literature, they won't see it. You may as well be speaking like a foreign language to them.
Yeah.
It's an author is somebody who takes a story that already exists and retells it in a fresh way. That was what clinched it for me when the lights went on. And I did not have to worry about, do I plot this story out? Do I pants this? No. I already have a story. I just changed the circumstances, changed the character names, changed the theme.
Sprinkle a little bit of yourself to it.
Yeah.
And then as narrators, we take your story and our goal is to add some of our energy to bring your story to life in
Yeah.
someone's ear if they're listening to it when they go to sleep at night, or that's what we're trying to do. I'm not saying we always achieve it, but that's the goal.
When I read Letters from a Dead World, when I listened to your narration, I started getting creeped out and going, who writes this stuff? Man,
That's the
oh,
highest compliment. That's the highest compliment. And you bring a little, I have to confess, I did a thriller recently, and the writer's so good at what he does, and it was a serial killer. And the thought did occur to me midway through the book. I'm running a little late on this deadline. I really don't want to piss this writer off. It's like I was scared myself midway through the book. Like, I think that's also a danger in over studying the manuscript, because when we go in the booth, we need to be prepared, but have fresh, discover the story in real time. So we're reacting in real time. And my favorite of all of yours was the guy picking up the girl on the road,
that's the reader favorite. Everyone seems to
yeah.
love that
Oh
particular
my
story.
God. And it kind of gave me nightmares in a good way.
That means I've done my job.
Yeah.
Okay. So Daniela,
Yes.
that story, Rebecca Raven,
Hmm.
you know what that story source material was? Can you?
What? This isn't
The
going to give me nightmares, is it?
stories are retellings of other stories.
Yeah.
That is Little Red Riding Hood.
Oh. Oh, I can see
Little Red
that.
Riding Hood as my base. So Little Red Riding Hood has a red cap, her red hood. That's her identity, right? She is off on a journey to bring these goods to grandma, and she's told, don't go off the path. She goes off the
Ah.
path, and she gets eaten by a wolf. And then a hunter comes along and he cuts open the wolf or whatever and lets Little Red Riding Hood out and Grandma out. However, it's retold in different ways, right?
Yeah.
But Jason is Little Red Riding Hood. The car, the Dodge Charger that he's he's a car guy. So that Dodge Charger is the stand-in for the Red Hood. He's on a journey to see the relatives of his deceased girlfriend. That's his ritual, just like Little Red Riding Hood is on her journey. He doesn't like to go off the path, or, he just wants to stick to his, but he does pick up that hitchhiker. Now, the hitchhiker isn't the wolf. The wolf is grief.
Wow.
He gets eaten by grief. The wolf eats him in the parking lot.
You've made me think of something.
And it is the woman, the chef, the waitress. That's
Yeah.
the hunter who lets him free.
And when you were writing it, you were consciously thinking of this.
Little Red Riding Hood. That was my framework.
But every story, if you think about it, because I've been beating myself up because I have a queue of audiobooks I need to listen to. I don't get to read anymore just to read. Like I have to book the book in order to have time to read it because I have so many in the queue that I have to do that I can't just like. So I'm re-listening to this comfy, cozy mystery, which is like not my genre at all, for like the sixth time. Like I've re-listened to it so many times. It's like 30 something episodes. And this time I listened to them backwards. And I realize I think as humans, we want to be told the same story
Yes.
because we recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
And also it probably brings ties to something profound inside of us from when we first heard that same story. So every story is the same story. We want to be told it over and over and over again and in different guise. And then it's different layers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow, I've never thought of this. I might need to.
Stories are situational archetypes, and they are crystallized archetypes of life situations that we all experience. And so we have all in some way been a Cinderella. Maybe we were bullied in school, or maybe we have a boss that's overbearing. That's the wicked stepmother, and we're the persecuted heroine, right? And we overcome that. Somebody comes in to help us out of that situation. That's that character in the study of fairy tales. That's called the benefactor. The benefactor can take many guises: a fairy godmother, fish bones with the spirit in it in the Chinese version, all sorts of ways. But its function is a benefactor. And these archetypes of stories, they resonate with us, I believe, because they represent situations we all relate to, because we've all been through them in a certain variation.
And they help us decide what we think about them and how we feel
Yes.
about it.
And a really good book to read, and it takes a psychoanalytical approach to fairy tales, and that is Bruno Bettelheim's The Uses of Enchantment. That was a very helpful book for me as an author. He psychoanalyzed the fairy tales, and mined a lot of interesting insights that any author can use and apply to their own work, right? And another thing is that when we grew up, when we were little children, we had these stories read to us.
Yeah.
And so there's already an emotional attachment. And so the stories today told to us in different guises when we're adults, they're shoo-ins. We're instantly fans because we already have a bond with them. Right? Um, Back to the Future is a Cinderella story.
I am
Go,
obsessed with Back to the Future. I think I've rewatched it too many times, but all three, they're like, to
yeah,
me, that's how you know I'm Gen X. Back to the
that's
Future is
total.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's like, I can't
Right.
understand how anybody could think anything is as good as Back to the Future. It
One of
just
the
is.
yeah, it's the greatest.
I mean, Michael J. Fox is a god. That's just because Back to the Future. I mean, you have your cultural touchstones
Yeah.
that, you know, yeah. Okay. I have to hit you with one last question. We're running over time.
Okay.
You're way too interesting. I could talk forever, but if you're going to leave the studio audience that's going to watch this in the next 100 years or so, writers, narrators, people starting out, if you want to leave them with one piece of advice, if they take nothing else away from this call except one thing, what would you leave them with?
One thing,
Yeah.
writing fiction is a tradition. It's an ancient tradition. And it's a tradition that accomplishes three things. Does your work heal people? Does your work educate people? And that means does it instruct them morally? Does it teach them the difference between right and wrong? And thirdly, does your work entertain?
Does it have to do all three?
All three. That's the that's
Awesome.
the that's the triangle
Good
of
writing.
writing stories. And that's the filter through which to tell your story. Because when you work with those three things, this is what this is the purpose of telling a story. These three things. So if you're not writing with these purposes in mind, you're going to be blocked because you're not honoring the tradition.
What was it? It was educate, entertain. What was the first one?
Instruct.
Instruct. Instruct, educate, and entertain.
Yeah. Because if we don't honor those three components of a story, that's where writer's block happens because we're not honoring the purpose of a story.
I love
And this
that.
is an ancient tradition. Stories are the components of a story are laws of nature, right? And so to be a storyteller, you have to honor the purpose of a story. And the purpose of a story really crystallized, those three things, is you have to have your audience's goodwill at heart. If you don't have your audience's goodwill at heart, if you don't want the best for the people you're telling stories to, your creativity is going to be blocked because you're not honoring the tradition.
And that's the one thing I've got mixed feelings about AI. I believe you have to embrace the modern world, but you have to have a soul to tell a story.
You do.
You have to have a soul to write a story.
Yep.
You just do. I do sometimes think ChatGPT doesn't know that it's AI because, but but the listener knows. I think we connect in those invisible ways, and we
Oh
thirst
yeah.
for those three elements, and we don't even realize it, but you know when it's missing.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you
Full
deliver
sense.
on all three counts, David. your books, yeah, I just I'm a huge, huge fan. I think I said that the first time I reached out to you.
That means so much, and I really appreciate it, Daniela.
No, I instantly recognized your writing as just instantly loved it.
I'm a huge fan of your work too. You bring characters to life.
Thank you. I'm lucky because I work with writers
Yeah,
with great characters, so it's quite an easy job to be honest. But
yeah.
I will put links to all of David's work below in the About section if you're watching this on YouTube. And I will also put a link to David's Amazon page, author page. So you can follow him, subscribe. Highly, highly recommend read his work, listen to his work, whichever way you like to get your books, do it because not to be missed. Not to
Thank
be
you.
missed. Thank you so much. And thank you for honoring us with this hour. I've taken way more than an hour. Thank you, David. And the video will be out soon, everyone. Thanks to the studio audience. Mwah! We'll catch you on the other side. Bye.